Makes the cut, and she will get it to go.
Goes for the left hand and scores.
Finds space to pull up three, and it's good.
She's going to accelerate to the hoop, lay in. It's a bucket.
Cleans up the mess. She's in double figures now.
For the second time in 4 years, they are going dancing.
Two red-hot teams in the Patriot League bring their success to the Hart Center on Senior Day with history on the line as Bucknell visits Holy Cross. And with that, we welcome you inside of our broadcast, everybody, alongside Adam Giardino. Holy Cross looking for 5 out of the last 6.
Right, and 5 of their last 6, but the most recent one Wednesday against Army, it was a loss. So Holy Cross is looking for a bounce back, and they're looking to do it against a very, very good Bucknell team. A great offense, and Bucknell, you see the field goal percentage. They have the best field goal percentage defense as well in the conference, so it's going to be a real tall task for the Crusaders today.
A 75-71 win for Bucknell the last time these two teams met. Well, Bucknell, they've been led by Caitlin Slagus, and she's had a season that's put her in contention for Patriot League Player of the Year.
And for Slagus, 13.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game. Those are very, very impressive figures. Her last game, though, was only 11 points. She wasn't a huge factor in the offense. You could see she played really well against the Crusaders, and that's something Bucknell is going to look for her to repeat today.
And on the other side for Holy Cross, they've had some freshmen that have stepped up all year long, but Alucia Zemma's put the Patriot League on notice.
Absolutely. When you grab 16 rebounds in a game as she did against Army, even in a losing effort, that really makes you stand out. And for Zemma, she's gotten more physical, more confident as her freshman year's gone on.
Should be a fun one on the Patriot League Saturday. It's the Bison and the Crusaders on the Patriot League Network next on Stadium. Welcome back inside the Hart Center. Elijah Gonzalez, Adam Giardino alongside. There you take a look at the records between both these teams. Bucknell coming in at 22-4 on the year. Holy Cross 15-10. But again, Adam, you look at the last 5, and that's been the story for both these teams.
A couple of teams that come in playing really well. 2 of the hottest teams in the entire Patriot League. Obviously, Bucknell jockeying right now with American. Both of those teams are 13-1 and tied atop the standings. But it's Bucknell going for a record win here today. We already touched on that in the open. So both teams fully motivated coming into today's game.
There you take a look at the Bison starting lineup. Kai English, a big game last time out for the Bucknell Bison, and she had 15 points on 7-7 shooting. But again, this is a lineup, Adam, that has been so effective all year long. 3-point shooting has been the key for Bucknell all year, and you take a look at Holy Cross, and getting the start is going to be the senior Miranda Nixon. Played a couple of minutes against Army and some quality minutes, and Coach Ann McInerney said she brought some fight that they really needed in that contest.
Right. Miranda Nixon, even though she finds herself maybe outside of that top 9 rotation, she falls somewhere in the 10 to 12 range on this roster. Nixon is a piece at 6'3" that a lot of teams wish they had, and even though Holy Cross doesn't need her all that often, for her to come off the bench 2 minutes in the first half, 3 minutes in the second half, she adds a different dimension that a lot of teams can't handle.
There you take a look at head coach Aaron Rossell in his 7th season, 2-time Patriot League Coach of the Year. He also picked up the first win in the WNIT in Patriot League history. How about this, Adam? 60-7 in league play over the past 3 years for the Bucknell Bison. There you take a look at interim head coach Ann McInerney in her 11th year at Holy Cross. We're just about set for tip-off between Holy Cross and Bucknell. And a fun contest set to go as the tip is won by Mac, and it'll be Walker that will control for Bucknell. Both these teams shoot the 3 exceptionally well. For Bucknell, it was Abby Kapp, 12 points in the first half. Slagus inside, though, and scores the first bucket of the game.
And Nixon defensively did well to hang with her, but then Slagus came back over the other shoulder and created just enough daylight to drop that one in.
Coach McInerney gave Caitlin Slagus high praise, said she's a player that is having a Patriot League Player of the Year caliber season. As Nicole Morris takes it to the rim, no good, but there's Miranda Nixon, who Coach Ann McInerney called her the enforcer inside, gets the rebound that time. Kick out, LaBarbera gonna try it, and she's got it all. Avery LaBarbera gets the scoring started, and right away, we've got 2 buckets on our hand.
Lauren Manis, not even 2 assists per game, but that was a great look from the baseline. Rather than forcing something herself where she had been sealed off, she found the open man.
inside, and Manis will grab the rebound. It was a tough game for Lauren Manis against Army, but a great job by Black Knights trying to find a way to slow her down. That's been a tough thing to do. Taking it to the rim is Manis. She goes up. It's no good. The rebound grabbed by Slagus. Head coach of Navy, Stephanie Pemper, said, I wish she was a senior this year. But she comes back for another year, does Lauren Manis, and a foul is going to be called.
Yeah, Manis, next year we're going to be talking a lot about different records that she's going to try and track down in the all-time ranks for Holy Cross. She really is one of the best that has stepped foot on this campus. Senior day next year will have a different feel to it for sure.
And there's Kai English. She's now 8 of 8 in the last 2 games from the floor, knocks down the 3, and Bucknell back in front. Backdoor cut, and it's LaBarbera trying to float. It's no good. Walker grabs the miss.
Great look for Holy Cross, just didn't finish.
Great chance early for both teams as English takes it inside, kicks it back out. The reset here is Cap. 3-point threat, and she'll pull it. It's no good, in and out. Nixon grabs the rebound. Up and down tempo we could find at times in this game, especially with the threat of shooting that is on the floor. Manis spins, she goes up, can't get it to go. Slagus will grab the rebound. Some of the top players in the Patriot League here on the floor this afternoon. Ellie Mack, one of them, trying to spin on Manis. It's no good. She grabs the miss and kicks it back out to Walker. Kate Walker, a very solid season a year ago, first team All-Patriot League. And this is a Bucknell team that Coach Aaron Russell said this is the deepest team we've ever had. And that's coming from a guy who's seen a lot of talent, and a foul is going to be called on Madeleine Smith. That's her first foul.
And it's a really interesting thing to say for someone who has started a very consistent starting 5 all year, where Kai English has started all 26, so has Kate Walker, so has Caitlin Slagus. Abby Kapp came off the bench once. Ellie Mack missed a game and has come off the bench once in another game. So you're talking about, out of 105 possible starts coming into today, all but 3 have been made by this 5-core group.
Another foul going to be called here, and it's going to be on the substitute for Holy Cross, Aluchi Azema. We talked about her at the top of the broadcast. Megan Swords also checking in as she replaced Miranda Nixon. And now Manis quickly comes back in the game, and she will replace Nicole Morris. So Morris will check out. But for Holy Cross, Aluchi Azema, along with Avery LaBarbera, the 2 freshmen that have really stood out this year. And then you can even throw Madison Dembski in the mix now for Holy Cross, freshman with quality minutes. That bucket is good there as Walker finds her way inside.
Walker got the mismatch with 6 inches of height advantage over Avery LaBarbera in the paint, and she quickly went to work.
LaBarbera, a threat for Holy Cross in about every sense of the word. That one is turned over by Manis. Great save by Mack that time. And Bucknell able to get the possession. Kick to English. She'll shoot it from there, instead takes it to the rim, lays it up with the right hand. What a finish by Kai English. And a timeout is taken on the floor by interim head coach Ann McInerney. And we'll have a timeout on the floor. Holy Cross trailing early. Bucknell, the firepower showing through. Welcome back inside the Hart Center. Bucknell leading 9-3, and you take a look there at the Patriot League standings. Adam, this is a tight race to the top. Bucknell and American starting to run away with the league, but you look at Holy Cross, a big win here could really turn the tide.
They could jump up to the 3rd spot with a win and a little bit of help from BU and Lehigh. They could also drop a spot and be 6th if Army's able to track them down with a loss here today. And for Holy Cross moving forward, it's Bucknell, they've got American, the other team that's tied for 1st, and they've got Lehigh, who's ahead of them in the standings as well. So this isn't an easy slate over the final 4 games for Holy Cross. They're going to have to beat one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the conference if they want to hang on to this spot in the standings.
And a reminder, Bucknell has beat BU both times that they have seen them. And we will have a foul here on Bucknell, so the ball will stay with Holy Cross. It was a win against BU right here inside the Hart Center, 75-69. And then going on the road through the stretch of 4 in a row, 64-61 in a hard-fought battle with the Terriers. And Madeleine Smith looks to go inside, but there's a turnover. Great defense from Ellie Mack. And that was something that was highlighted by Coach Russell coming into this game. As Walker tries the leaner, it's no good. Lost in the physicality department. The last time that these two teams met, he said they came out very physical. Expecting that from his team was Coach Russell, so they pride themselves on that.
And it'll be interesting to see with Azema out there. That was sort of the moniker hung on Azema about her ability to be aggressive and physical, whether she builds on what her game was last time where she had the 16 boards.
There's Walker just reaching in. Kate Walker picks up her first personal. Barbara trying to settle things down for Holy Cross. It's been the Crusaders that have struggled from the floor here early. Skip pass to Manis. Manis inside, kicks to Swords. Little jumper is good from Megan Swords.
That helps snap 7-0 run for Bucknell. Gets Holy Cross right back in the right frame of mind.
Ellie Mack from 3. This is a explosive offense for Bucknell, and Coach Russell talked about how when you can stretch the floor with your bigs the way they can, they're very tough to beat. And here's a 3 from Manis, stretch the floor. It's back to 4.
This is what the first couple of minutes looked like before Holy Cross's offense went into hibernation for a little bit.
Inside pass, great one from Walker to Mack. And Ellie Mack, you talk about a player that's having a breakout season. Just 5.8 points a game last year. Now she's averaging over 12 a game this year for the Bison. Kick out to Morris. Can she save it? No, she cannot. It will go over and back, and a turnover for Holy Cross. And this was a point in the Army game where Holy Cross really struggled. The turnover department, Army forced some turnovers. A little extra on the horn there.
I don't know how much of that got picked up on the microphones here in the broadcast, but that was...
Got picked up in our ears, that's for sure.
A lot of chuckling going on over at the scorer's table.
They don't know what happened.
I hope they figure it out.
With it now, working towards the rim. Kick out by Johnson inside, and it's Seppi that finishes. Just so much explosive offensive ability off the bench for Bucknell.
Right, it feels like Bucknell's making solid plays, working the offense, and then if you look up at the scoreboard and you start doing the math, they're on pace for almost 30 points here in the first quarter.
With it is Swords. This is what we expected coming in for both these offenses, high scoring. And right now, Bucknell living up to the hype. Inside, it's Megan Swords. She goes up, and she's fouled by Seppi. Great steal by Swords, and able to get the opportunity to the line.
And that was a really creative pass by Madeleine Smith. Swords had the position inside, but there was some good on-ball defense that prevented a passing lane from being created for Madeleine Smith, and she just whipped it underhanded, able to find her teammate.
No good from Megan Swords on the first free throw. Checking back in is Azema. She will replace Lauren Manis. And again, what Holy Cross did against Army, even with the loss, free throw from Swords is good. They didn't get the production out of Lauren Manis that they needed, and still brought that back to a 5-point game in the fourth quarter. And there's a turnover as Nicole Morris takes it away. Morris taken away by Walls that is. Walls coming the other way. Kicks it back out to Mack. Mack pump fake, but she traveled and will go the other direction. So a couple of unfortunate turnovers for both sides.
And maybe that's just things evening out here on what seemed to be, certainly in Ann McInerney's mind, a missed call that knocked Morris to the court.
Manis will come back in, but when these two teams meet, it is a physical affair, and that's what both coaches had said. It was a hard-fought battle. Ann McInerney thought her team, she said, I thought we did everything we needed to win. Bucknell just that talented. She said they have all the respect in the world for this group. Manis goes inside to Azema, goes up and can't get it to go. And Holy Cross, beside themselves, thought that was a foul. Skip pass, cross court, Johnson. Kick to Mack. Stripped away. Diving on the floor for the loose ball is Manis, and we have a jump ball. Bodies flying everywhere, and the Crusaders will get it back.
What a great effort by Lauren Manis on a loose ball where she didn't have the inside position. She was the one that was scrapping from behind and able to tie it up. A bit of a quick whistle on Autumn Seppi where Manis ultimately came away with it. But usually when Seppi, the opposing player, has that position, you're just going to go through them and commit a foul, and instead you win the possession for your team.
Talk about a young team on the floor right now for Holy Cross. 3 freshmen, Avery LaBarbera, Lucia Zema, and Dembski on the floor as well. And then it's Lauren Manis and Madeleine Smith. That one knocked away. It'll stay with Holy Cross, and once again, McInerney throws her hands up as to say, how do we get a call? It's been that kind of game, though. Not a lot of fouls both ways. 3 apiece, but inbound coming from Madeleine Smith. She gets it in. Smith has had a hot stretch of the season from the 3-point line. Inside, it's Azema, had it ripped away. Great play defensively by Walker. Here comes English. Kick to Walker. Walker guarded tightly. Looking to go inside. Back up top, and we have a whistle, and it's going to go as a 3-second violation. Seppi in the lane a little bit too long, and Coach McInerney on that trip down the floor, Adam, was talking to the official asking, hey, can I get some calls down there?
And while I agree with the general feel of the first 7+ minutes that maybe a couple of calls could have gone Holy Cross's way, that last defensive strip was a thing of beauty. There was some contact, but I'm okay with that when you're able to, a little contact, but you're able to strip the ball that cleanly away from a player cutting through the paint. That's such good defense.
And right now, Bucknell defensively, their defensive intensity is starting to ramp up as Smith double-teamed off the screen. Kick to Swords in the short corner. Back out top, LaBarbera. Explosive with the basketball, kicks it out, and Morris penetrates, no good. Grabbed by Swords on the miss. Shot clock didn't reset. It's no good by Swords. And the other way come the Bison. Good stretch for Holy Cross, though, getting the offensive glass. Megan Swords, a big reason why they've had the ability this year to do that. Here's a 3. It's no good off the back rim for Cap. Offensive rebound, no good, and grabbed by Manis. So missed opportunities on both ends. After a first quarter, Adam, where you mentioned Bucknell on pace for 30 points, has really slowed down as we hit the 2-minute mark here in this first quarter. Off the screen, Madeleine Smith. Inside to Manis. Manis going up strong and able to score. English quickly the other way.
That was such a great pass from Madeleine Smith, and like it's over the back of a cornerback who didn't expect a pass coming, just tucked it in there, dropped it in the bucket.
And now a turnover going the other way to Holy Cross as O'Brien lost it out of bounds. Madeleine Smith thought that might have been a push-off on O'Brien. Again, it's been physical, and both teams have responded. For as much as the referees have let things go, both teams have been physical and used it to their advantage. Going inside, it's Manis. Faces up. Goes up strong, no good. Offensive rebound. Kick out to Morris, back up top. Manis puts it on the deck again. Blocking foul is called. And now on the other side, Coach Russell having some words.
In real time, it seemed like this was correctly called. Manis dips the shoulder a little bit, but you can't slide underneath as Autumn Seppi did. She never had position. And Manis, yeah, she tucked that shoulder and put her head down as she went to the bucket, but didn't do it in a way that should have been an offensive foul.
And a referee will tell you that's the hardest call to make. But I think, like you said, not sure Manis dipping the shoulder had anything to do with the contact that was involved. It was kind of Seppi sliding underneath. You see the numbers there from Lauren Manis. It's been an exceptional year once again. And the preseason Patriot League Player of the Year has lived up to the hype for Holy Cross. And right now has her team down by 3 in an inspired effort really by Lauren Manis. Couple of back-to-back buckets, and she's put her team right back in this thing.
They're going to bring Miranda Nixon in defensively. Madeleine Smith goes to the bench. Lauren Manis goes to the bench. They're maybe protecting some of their players that have already picked up a foul here in the first quarter for one last defensive possession.
Nicole Morris at the top of that zone has been effective. And there's LaBarbera with a steal. Avery LaBarbera the other way, lays it in. Holy Cross within one.
All right, 2 defensive possessions now for Holy Cross when you come up with the steal like that.
O'Brien, active hands for LaBarbera and Morris at the top. 3-pointer no good off the front rim there from Cap. And Holy Cross will more than likely have the final possession of this first quarter.
And how about that for Miranda Nixon on senior day? She's got 3 boards in the first quarter.
LaBarbera working up top. Penetrates toward the rim, kick out, Dembski wide open, and she drills it. Holy Cross in front. Other way comes Kai English. English towards the rim, and she traveled. It's a turnover. Holy Cross gets it back with 1.6. The energy alive in the Hart Center.
16-8 lead at one point for Bucknell, and Holy Cross has gone on quite a nice 10-0 run here.
Well, Madeleine Smith hit 1 half-court shot already this season. May she do it again. Azema finds Smith. Smith from half court, and it's short. Holy Cross will head into the break with a 2-point advantage. A big run by the Crusaders, and Holy Cross able to take the lead as we head to quarter number 2. Well, Holy Cross with a very impressive stretch for the Crusaders. They lead it by 2. See Manis there grabbing the miss, but it's been the defense for Holy Cross that stepped up. LaBarbera with the steal, and then Dembski a big 3 to give Holy Cross the advantage.
Defense turning into offense. A 10-0 run for the Crusaders, but when you hold the team scoreless for the final 4:48 of the first quarter, really ever since we talked about Bucknell being on pace for a 30-point quarter, they hadn't done anything since.
And it's been terrific defense. Holy Cross has kind of switched it up a little bit. They've gone man-to-man, but also have gone into the zone, and then it's been helpful that Nicole Morris has made plays like that.
Yeah, that she's somebody that comes off the bench and is very much a pass-first point guard. Doesn't even average 2 points a game. Doesn't shoot particularly high percentage, but she's affecting Bucknell in a big way.
And Nicole Morris been in and out of the starting lineup, but always a player that has gotten some quality minutes for Holy Cross. And a foul called here on Kai English, so starting to tighten up a little bit here in this game. But again, it goes back to what Holy Cross has done this year with their bench. It's been a couple of different players that have contributed off of it, and Nicole Morris and Alucia Azema, along with now Madison Dembski, who comes out of this game, have been the catalysts.
And having that depth grow for Holy Cross really makes next year look all that more tantalizing for the Crusaders, because the 2 players that are graduating that were honored on senior day here, they're role players, to be honest, and they're not really any of your top 8, top 9 players. So Holy Cross is going to have a big chunk of their minutes coming back next year.
And a foul is going to be called here on Cap. That'll be the second foul on Cap, the first foul on Cap. So now the inbound will come for Holy Cross, and Coach Russell, he's been animated so far, and on the other side, McInerney as well. His coaches have seen the importance of this game, how it can affect the rest of the year. Like you mentioned, tough schedules coming up for both these teams. Inside's making Swords no good. On a good look, though, for Swords on the interior.
Another good pass from Madeleine Smith, another one of those underhand zip passes that stuck in her gut.
And an offensive foul on Walker. LaBarbera getting her body in there. Holy Cross has thrown the body around a few different times, and Kate Walker, the elbow up high on LaBarbera.
Yeah, swinging the elbow, just didn't realize that LaBarbera, A, was there, or that LaBarbera, B, is 5'6". That always helps when your head's a little bit more at elbow height. Doesn't feel any better. Just helps draw the offensive foul. If you take that elbow in the ribs, in the shoulder, you're not going to get that call.
What a play by LaBarbera. Great take to the rim. So crafty. Holy Cross up 4. And the back and forth affair continues. Inside, a foul is going to go on Madeleine Smith. And for 2 offensive teams that have put up such solid numbers, the defense in this game has been a story as well.
especially as we talked about with Bucknell now going over 6 minutes. 6 minutes without a point, and they've turned it over 7 times. We've had 12 combined turnovers. We had 12 of them in the first quarter, and just building on that number even more here in the second.
As Coach McInerney said, they need to just continue to get better each and every day, and right now it looks like they have taken a step, especially defensively and on the glass. Not many second chances for Bucknell, which has led to a couple of opportunities on the other end for Holy Cross. As LaBarbera works up top, gets it to Azema. Holy Cross moving the basketball, and now it's LaBarbera off the screen. Trying to create, finds a lane, and scores.
It's a great little seal by Megan Swords to make sure that LaBarbera could take the corner, and Bucknell's seen enough.
Aaron Russell needs a timeout. Holy Cross on a run. Avery LaBarbera has been the leader for the Crusaders.
How about this? 7:03 without a point for Bucknell. I bet that's probably what Aaron Russell is discussing in the huddle, prompting that timeout. It has been some defensive stretch for Holy Cross. And even though the offense is fine, Holy Cross shooting right around 40%, it's those turnovers and just clamping down on Bucknell that's gotten the job done.
A complete 180 from what Bucknell had in their last contest against Loyola. They hit shots early and often in that win. He said that was the key, but they also made Loyola uncomfortable offensively. No good from Slagus, who's back in the game. And LaBarbera quickly pushing. Her ability in transition has been incredible this year, and this time in the half court looking to create. Finds Dembski. Trying to get it back to her. This is where LaBarbera shines. 10 under the shot clock. Picks up her dribble. Great pass to Morris. Can't get the finish. Rebound by Mack. What can't she do?
Yeah, that was such a great find and a great rebound by Mack.
Cap no good. Drought continues. Holy Cross in front. Been lulls offensively for both teams in this game. Of course, Bucknell in a longer stretch. Morris looking to go inside, finds Azema. Azema spins, can't get it to go, and it will go the other way. I think both coaches have just decided they're just going to put their hands up on about every call throughout the rest of this game, but again, it's been a physical game.
Yeah, and I think in the first quarter, both coaches realized that yelling and complaining vocally wasn't going to get the job done, that these officials are consistently calling this game, that players are not getting into foul trouble because of that, and if it takes a couple of free throws off the board for both teams, so be it.
Layup no good by English. The other way comes Holy Cross. Lauren Manis back in the game for the Crusaders, taking out Azema. LaBarbera to the rim. LaBarbera no good. Grab on the miss by Swords. Kicked back out, and Holy Cross resets. Second chance opportunities for Holy Cross. Now can they convert them? Smith guarded tightly by English. Skip pass. Dembski gonna try another three, and she drills another. 2 for 2 from beyond the arc for Madison Dembski.
Dembski had a big game 13 games ago against Lafayette with a career-high 13 points, or rather, career-high 10 points in 13 minutes, and she's already up to a quick 6 here in the first half.
Talk about a player that has gone through some adversity. Coach McInerney talked about Dembski coming off a year where she didn't play her senior year, dealing with an injury. She said she's finally getting back to form, and that's been a key for them. But the spunk from the freshman, what Coach McInerney called it, that's what they've given so far this year. Rebound by Manis, but turns it over. O'Brien lays it in, and the drought is finally over.
9 minutes and 18 seconds without a point for the conference highest scoring team in Bucknell.
Turnover. The other way comes English. Left side of the rim, blocked by Manis. Layup is good on the back end by Seppi. Great follow by Autumn Seppi, seeing that that ball was going to be deflected. Able to get it back. Under 5 now to go in the second quarter. And this game, not really on pace for the high-scoring affair so far. Dembski going to try it one more time. It's no good. Madison Dembski might have taken the roof off this place if she hit another. 5-point lead for Holy Cross. Kick out. Take to the rim. And it's going to be an offensive foul on Autumn Seppi.
It's going to be her third. So no true foul trouble in terms of fouls getting spread out and multiple players picking them up. But Autumn Seppi now definitely to the bench for the final 4.5 minutes. And that might really affect how many minutes she's able to get coming out of halftime.
Well, and that's really going to go deep into Aaron Russell's bench. He goes to Tessa Brugler, the sophomore forward. She played in 25 games last year for Bucknell. And this season, 26 games, but only averaging just over a point a game. Kick out. Smith to the rim. Trying to send it to Morris, who is cutting, but corrals it. Morris lost it out of bounds, but it was knocked away by Allie Johnson. It stays with Holy Cross. So the Crusaders will inbound. This is what Coach Russell talked about, his depth. You get Autumn Seppi that picks up 3 fouls, but you still have an extra body to go to. That's been the story this year for Bucknell. They've had a few different players, and of course their star power in Slagus, but lots of offense from everywhere. LaBarbara, runner, somehow almost got that to go.
Maybe she thought some contact was starting to be initiated. She thought that she was going to get some free throws out of it, hoisted it up, didn't get the call, but yeah, that almost fell.
Kick out. Inside, Brugler pulls it back out. English. Out of the corner. Slagus, she'll pull the 3. It's no good. Back rim. Brugler on the offensive rebound and scores.
LaBarbara was down low clearing out a Bison player, but too many Bison crashing the glass for Holy Cross to account for them all.
Swords inside, blocked by Slagus. Manis had it knocked out of bounds. It will stay with Holy Cross.
My guess is that was really off the hands of Lauren Manis, but they didn't want to call a foul on Bucknell here. Let's see if the suspicion is correct. Swords with the miss. Now there was a reach in. There was a little bit of contact on ball. It looked more like a full bump from behind by Brugler.
That's a turnover by Manis. And how about Tessa Brugler? Coming in off the bench, you get the offensive rebound in the bucket, and then have to deal with one of the best players in the Patriot League defensively.
Oh, yeah, and maybe having fresh legs out there will compensate for having someone on the court who only averages 7 minutes a game, not totally experienced as a sophomore, but at this stage of the game when Manis is given as many minutes as she is, she's looking forward to a little break at halftime, and Brugler out there can give a little solid minutes.
Well, deepest team we've ever had from Aaron Russell is living up to the hype right now, and a foul is going to go on Avery LaBarbara. The mid-range jumper attempt by Kai English, and that will send English to the line.
Coming around a screen, an unnecessary foul picked up by LaBarbara. Bucknell had done its job, gotten the clean look. That was best that LaBarbara was going to be able to do, reaching across.
So English at the free throw line, the senior. And it's up and good for Kai English. Right now, Holy Cross, 80% from beyond the arc. And from the three-point line for Bucknell, just 2 of 7, 29% for the Bison here this afternoon. English knocks down 2, and Bucknell is within 1. Holy Cross in desperate need of a bucket. Skip pass to Dembski. Another 3. It's no good. Azema offensive rebound. She's fouled and goes to the line. Freshmen all over the floor for Holy Cross on that possession.
Yeah, how about this recruiting class for Holy Cross? You talk about next year being the year with Lauren Manis, Patriot League Player of the Year, is a senior, but that shot looked great from Dembski. She's already knocked down a couple. You get Azema in there as a freshman crashing the glass. Future is bright for Holy Cross.
Free throw no good by Azema. Azema is called by Coach McInerney a breath of fresh air. Always has a smile on her face. McInerney talked about her work ethic, not only on the floor, but in the classroom. Carrying a great grade point average as she comes in. After studying all day and works hard. And again, always has that big smile. So contagious. Kick to the near side, O'Brien. Skip past English. She'll try a deep three and drilled it. Kai English feeling it the last 2 games.
Yeah, that was extraordinarily deep, and now you suddenly look up, a 9-point lead for Holy Cross. It's a 1-point lead for Bucknell.
And it's been a scoring drought for Holy Cross. Azema to the rim. Azema, it's good.
Wow.
What a take by Aluchi Azema.
There was some contact all along the way, and she didn't have much daylight to get that one off, much less knock it in.
Mack with it. Gotta think this ball's gonna touch English's hand. Johnson, no good. Rebound battled for. Mack hits the floor, and somehow nobody's out of bounds on that baseline.
That's what
it's
I'm
a jump
thinking.
ball.
Her body's perilously close to being out of bounds on that painted area.
Have a great look here.
Wonder if the ponytail counts.
I don't know.
And that's an honest question. Yeah. There was some ponytail out of bounds, rest of the body inbounds.
English on LaBarbera, no good. That's been a fun matchup that has quietly made its storylines. Avery LaBarbera and Kai English going back and forth this afternoon. LaBarbera pull up. Gets the bounce. Huge bucket there for Holy Cross. They're back in front by 3.
And a good quick response. They're up large. They fall behind by a point, but back-to-back buckets, and it's a 3-point lead.
I don't know if you can find a more resilient team in the Patriot League than you can find in Holy Cross. Coach McInerney laughed when I asked her about, you've had to battle through these last couple of games. She said that was an understatement. Shot's no good. Smith grabs the miss. And you look at just the stat lines and the numbers of those games. Overtime game, 3-point game against BU. The list goes on and on for Holy Cross. Shot no good by Swords. Rebound grab there by Slagus. Even that loss to Bucknell back in January. 3-pointer by Johnson, she drills it.
And after teams have been trading blows, there's a 3-second differential between shot and game clock, and we've got a tied game right before halftime. This one's been as fun as we thought it would be.
Swatted away by O'Brien. Big block on Madeleine Smith. And now substitutions will come in. And this is about the time you strategize if you're both teams, and that's exactly what Coach Russell and McInerney will do. Boy, a big block there by O'Brien.
Coming into your living room.
Great work by our camera crew. We'll have an inbound from the baseline, but it's exactly what Russell did. He saw Manis coming in off the bench, and he brought in Tessa Brugler to guard her. Smith looking for LaBarbera, gets it to her. Guarded tightly there by Walls. And they'll pull it out. 3-second difference, shot clock and game clock. LaBarbera spinning. Nowhere to go. Inside to Manis. 3 on the shot clock. Manis, it's no good. And it'll be a shot clock violation. I'm not sure Manis didn't get hit on the arm on the way up.
She certainly thought so. And normally a shot from Lauren Manis doesn't fall that short, even if it is a rushed fadeaway jump shot.
So an inbound will come here from Bucknell. Substitutes into the game. Brugler inbounds. Walls the other way to half court. She'll try to heave, and she was fouled on the half court shot. Bucknell is going to have free throws possibly. Both coaches trying to find out if this foul is going to be called. And I believe they're going to take a look at the monitor here and see if in fact So the referees have just told us they're going to take a look and see if the contact came prior to the clock hitting 00. So we'll have to wait and see here. But again, they're looking if the contact comes before that red light comes on. We'll see if we can take a look once again. Slow it down for you at home, but this is a big call.
My question becomes whether it's going to be considered contact on the floor or whether they're going to say it was, well, it's definitely going to be in the act of shooting. And then it's just a matter of whether the red light had gone off. Might need to have one of those baseline cameras to piece it all together, because from here you can't tell whether the red light was on.
We'll have to see here, but again, I'm not sure what is going to occur. Officials were at the monitor for a short amount of time, and now they're going to let us know. All right, so they're going to put .4 on the clock here. And the foul comes before the shot.
Yeah, and
I think that might be the right call.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could see that Nicole Morris was trying to get out of the way. She didn't. There was contact, and it doesn't matter whether you're trying to get out of the way. It just matters whether.
So that will send Walls to the line. And she'll shoot 3. So big free throws coming here for Bucknell to try and take the lead into halftime. It's no good on the first. Take a look here. And that contact comes definitely before it hits 00.
Absolutely.
Great work once again by our camera crew to have that for you. Dembski will check back in. Free throw coming once again from Walls. 1 point lead for Bucknell. No good. Azema grabs it, and that will end the half. Holy Cross trailing by 1. Back and forth we go, Adam.
Well, that was better than it could have been for Holy Cross. You could find yourself down 3. Instead, a hard-fought first half. You still do trail by a point to top team in the Patriot League.
Halftime here at the Hart Center. We come back, we'll have second half action in the third quarter set to begin on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. Welcome back. Holy Cross trailing by 1, 31-30. And Adam, this was a very back and forth contest. Lots of runs from both teams.
Yeah, there was that run, a 17-0 run by Holy Cross, and then all of a sudden Bucknell comes back with a little bit of run of their own, and Holy Cross responds. This has just been a fun game. Elijah, we came in, we were hoping for a fun one. This might not be as high a scoring as the first time these two teams met, but it doesn't speak to the entertainment value. This has really been a treat for whoever's in attendance here at the Hart Center. For those of you watching at home, just hope the final 20 minutes is good as the first.
Well, and quietly, this game has been one that might end in the 60s. So even with some of the offensive struggles, this game is one that could still end in a very high-scoring affair. Take a look at the stats from both of these teams in that first half. I think the one that stands out that you got to look at for Holy Cross, it's 66.7 from beyond the arc, and thanks in part to Madison Dembski.
Right, and, you know, those numbers look really wide-ranging for Bucknell, 40%, 66.7. We'll break it down for you. Bucknell's 4 of 10. Holy Cross is 4 of 6. So they both knocked down 4 threes. Holy Cross has been much more economical. If the Crusaders knock down another 4, 5, 6 threes in the second half, yeah, they're going to have a real good chance of hanging with Bucknell's offense.
Dembski was 2 of 4 from beyond the arc in that first half for Holy Cross. And on the flip side, it was, again, Kai English, through her last few games, has been very impressive. Was 7 of 7 from the floor in her last time out. She's only 3 for 7 from the floor in this game for Bucknell, but 2 for 2 from beyond the arc.
Yeah, and one of those was a really deep three that seemed to get Bucknell back into it, that put them ahead. They were down a couple points and put them up 1 late in the first half. So she's had a couple of big shots leading them in points, the game's leading scorer with those 10 points.
So we're just about set for second half action between Holy Cross and Bucknell in a very important Patriot League battle on this Saturday afternoon. We thank you for joining us. I'm Elijah Gonzalez. Adam Giardino is the man to my right. And a foul is going to be called quickly. So a game that was back and forth in the foul column. And now starting to see some fouls maybe pile up in this half from the officials trying to get this game back under control. We saw a big foul at the end of that half.
Riled up the home crowd, but it seemed to be correct in every sense. It was a three-point shot. The contact happened with 0.4 of a second left, and if you're Bucknell, you're furious if it doesn't get called.
Manis, what an up and under from Lauren Manis.
That's beautiful. That is really impressive for someone who has such a wide-ranging arsenal. You just can't give up on her even if you think you have her sealed off from the basket.
Slagus tries a three, and she knocks it down. Caitlin Slagus, a big bucket for Bucknell. Kind of a deja vu of how that first half began. It was Bucknell with the early basket, Holy Cross with the three, and then just flip that, and you've got the start of the second half. Trying to go inside, we'll have a kick ball here on Kate Walker.
It was a surprisingly quiet first half for Slagus. She's a person we highlighted at the beginning. Almost 14 points a game, and she had just the one bucket on 1 for 5 shooting.
Slagus went down with an injury in the game against Loyola, had to take a few minutes to regroup, went back to the locker room, did come back out and play. Inside at Swords, no good. Manis on the glass, can't rip it away from Mack. And a back and forth battle on the glass that couldn't be won by Manis. Walker to the rim, kicks it out. Mack has an open look at a three. Back rim, no good. Tipped around, and LaBarbera comes away with it. What a move by Avery LaBarbera behind the back. Kicks it to Nicole Morris. Inside Swords. Reverse. Gets it on the finish.
Good confidence for Swords, who missed a short-range shot last time Holy Cross had the possession. She goes right back to it. Short-term memory, just trusting yourself.
Swords starting the second half in place of the senior Miranda Nixon, who started this game for Holy Cross. Walker trying to go inside on Morris, hits the deck hard, and it will go to Holy Cross. So Holy Cross will take back possession. Walker took a tough spill in the middle of the lane there. All tied up for Bucknell. This has been a game in every season that has always been a tough one. Never have they won 13 in a row. They've been at 12 the last 2 years and unable to get unlucky, you could say, number 13.
Oh, that's just how really persistent the Patriot League is. It's such an ultra-competitive conference.
Offensive rebound by Swords. Nicole Morris to the rim. She's fouled. Count it. Morris to the line.
We've seen a couple of takes by Nicole Morris where she's gotten herself right to the glass that, frankly, surprising, but it's been an uptick for Morris with her last 3 games. She's logged 12 points coming in, and she's someone who, in the 16 games before that, 15 points. So she's not a scorer, and we've highlighted that, but that was an incredible and-one move.
Another player with energy off the bench, has started a couple of games this year for Holy Cross. Here's a three from Mack. It's no good. It bounces high, and it goes over the basket, so we will have the ball go back in favor of Holy Cross. I think we look at this game, Adam, you figure out is there you see Infinity Thomas Waheed taking in action from her former team. Remember that class of 2018, 1,000-point scorer here at Holy Cross. What a talented player she was.
Oh, yeah. To be paired alongside Lauren Manis for a couple of years and have that inside-outside combo, especially last year with Waheed as a sophomore.
Three-pointer from Smith, and she knocks it down. Madeleine Smith starting to get going. Her ability to shoot the three has been impressive this year against Loyola, 15 points from beyond the arc. We'll have a foul that's going to go on Nicole Morris. Back to Infinity Thomas Waheed. A couple of games during her senior year, she had 30+, including one against BU in a game they really needed her.
And that's something that maybe Holy Cross is missing a little bit this year, where they have an improved Lauren Manis, but they don't have someone who can consistently take the pressure off. Avery LaBarbera has done that a couple of times this year, but not as consistently as what Thomas Waheed did.
And of course, LaBarbera, only a freshman, still plenty of time to grow into that role. Smith works with the basketball on the left side of the floor. Big bucket was from Ellie Mack. A needed bucket for Bucknell, but no response on the defensive end and no answer for Megan Swords.
He's got that size on the inside. Quiet first half. Already a couple of quick buckets here in the second.
Walker, top of the arc, swings. English. They go inside to Slagus, back out. English will shoot it from there. Instead, she drives. Kicks it out. 3 from Cap. Back rim, no good. Tipped out. Walker saves it and gets it off to Mack. Comes back out to English. They will reset. Terrific hustle by Bucknell. Now Walker penetrates baseline. Can't get it to go. Battling with Dembski. It's out of bounds. It goes to Holy Cross. Well, the effort there for Bucknell in that possession.
Just not the results.
Lucia Zema comes back in and replaces Megan Swords. A much needed and well-deserved rest for Swords. He's come in, had 4 points already in the second half. Now LaBarbera get things set up for the Holy Cross Crusaders, who lead it by 5. Goes inside to Manis. Manis fouled on the backside, and she will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. So tough when you get a player in the post like Lauren Manis, and she can face up and create the way she can.
She gets the ball down low. A step back, you think you got her right where you want her, and you, in fact, close out a little too hard if you're Ellie Mack.
So Manis at the free throw line. First one is up and good from Lauren Manis. Manis in that first half, 2 of 6 from the floor. Did hit a 3-pointer for Holy Cross. Total just 7 points. We mentioned it was a tough game for her at Army, but impressive performances by the Black Knights on the interior kind of shut down Lauren Manis in a way. But as Coach Russell, who said it best, Holy Cross just has so much talent, it's finding a way to limit it.
It's a lot of respect for a team that comes in with that 7-7 record in conference, but has been so competitive.
On the flip side, Coach McInerney said the same thing. You just got to limit it. There's Kai English. They've had a tough time limiting her this afternoon. English with another bucket. She is in double figures at 12.
Her first points of the second half.
LaBarbera's 3, no good. Manis, offensive rebound. Manis spins, fadeaway, no good. Azema battling, but Mack comes away. And a traveling on Slagus.
Slagus wanted an outlet pass. It wasn't there, thus the turnover.
A timeout on the floor. Holy Cross in front by 5. Bucknell looking for a comeback. Holy Cross in front by 5. And it's been that kind of night for both of these teams. One in which sometimes it's been tough to come by, other times baskets looked huge. For Manis, she goes inside, can't get it to go, and this has been one of those stretches for Lauren Manis.
Getting it at the free throw line, just not really finding that touch on the short range fadeaway.
Now Bucknell looking for a response. It's been a quiet third quarter. English had the layup. Bucknell just hasn't had many responses as Seppi goes to the rim, no good. Manis grabs it.
Just the 5th rebound for Lauren Manis, so not quite on her season pace. So many double-doubles that she's been able to pick up this year.
Smith over to Zema. Inside they go to Manis. Manis goes strong and will have a foul on the floor. That's going to go on Seppi.
That's her 4th.
That's a big foul on Autumn Seppi. And we'll see if Coach Russell decides to go to Brugler, and that's exactly where he goes.
And that's what we saw happen at the end of the first half, but there was a finite amount of time when Brugler came in at the end of the first half where you knew she'd go back to the bench. this is a little more indeterminate. 14 minutes to go in regulation, and Seppi, who averages 15 minutes a game, is seemingly unavailable.
Turnover, and here comes English the other way with speed. Fouled by Manis. Got all ball, but the body first. And that will send Kai English to the line. Take another look at this. We might get it right in your living room.
First foul picked up by Manis. English. That might have been one of the more favorable camera angles for Holy Cross. Trailing from behind, it seemed like there was a pretty good bump. That seemed just like clean basketball.
Is that a little stare down from Lauren Manis?
Yeah, might have been.
First free throw is no good by English. She knocks down the second.
Give her the benefit of the doubt. She was just picking up the basketball, right?
I guess so.
Maybe no love lost between these two teams. When you're Bucknell and you've had the year in, year out success, you get that target on your back every game.
Manis kicks it out. LaBarbara open look at a three. No good, almost banked it in. And the other way comes Bucknell and O'Brien with numbers. O'Brien to the rim. She's bumped by Smith. It'll be going up to shoot for Taylor O'Brien.
Third foul on Madeleine Smith. She and Nicole Morris with 3 fouls each. Nobody else for Holy Cross with more than a foul. As we've talked about with Bucknell, some fouls piling up for players with significant minutes.
O'Brien's first free throw, no good off the back rim. O'Brien just 1 for 2 in this game. Taylor O'Brien, they missed Pennsylvania basketball, scored over 2,000 points in high school. So talented freshman coming in her home state. Next free throw is up and good. For O'Brien, it's at a 4-point game. Holy Cross trying to get out in transition. This is where they're at their best. LaBarbara pump fake, now shoots. It's no good. And that one going to be knocked out of bounds. But once again, Holy Cross causing problems on the offensive glass.
That was quick transition. Avery LaBarbara did the hard part. Got herself wide open from about 6 feet. Couldn't make it. But yeah, that was a great job by Swords to crash and create some problems.
Marley Walls checks in, placing Kai English. Manis kicks it. LaBarbara. Holy Cross had a couple of shots late in the shot clock, but they've been good looks. Coach Ann McInerney talked about her execution at the end of that Army game. No good by Manis. That one grabbed by Mack. Said we had a chance in that game. We executed. Just weren't able to knock down the shots that were needed. The big thing she said, though, that changed in the second half, they got out on the break, and we'll see if that occurs in this second half. That one out of bounds, and it goes off of Walls. So it'll go back to Holy Cross. Now Azema will check in. Coach Russell has had that look on his face a few times this afternoon. Bucknell going into the full court press, and they might have got a turnover here. Walls takes it away.
They had LaBarbara on the Hail Mary pass. Azema just underthrew it. She had a good step and a half on her defender.
Inside to Mack. Kick out. That one almost turned over. It unintentionally hit Brugler. Looking to go inside with 10 on the shot clock, and a kick ball will reset it to 15.
Dembski's been certainly active on the defensive end here in the second half. She was busy on the offensive end, knocking down a pair of threes.
Dembski has seen a lot more minutes in the second half of the season. Three-pointer on the way from O'Brien, high arcing rainbow, no good. And Dembski grabs the miss. Dembski missed all of her senior year with a knee injury. Again, Coach McInerney talked about her just trying to get back into form and quality minutes now this season. Swords goes up, she's fouled, can't get it to go. She'll go to the line to shoot 2, but a near 3-point chance for Megan Swords.
Boy, that was all the way in. Just couldn't imagine how that ball wasn't going to roll off the rim and go home for Swords. Instead, it skips off the heel, and it'll be a pair of free throws instead.
And the first one is up and good. bring this back to a 2-possession game. Slagus and English check back in. With Bucknell, team that doesn't really panic. 8.6 rebounds so far for Swords in this game. Lots of veteran leadership for this group. But Coach Russell talked about having the energy. And right now, both teams have brought that. It's just come down to execution. Mack kicks it out. It's English. Back up top. O'Brien to the rim. Can't get it to go. Grabbed by Azema. And here comes Holy Cross out on the break. Well, Barbara now slows it down and resets. Under 2 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Holy Cross by 5. LaBarbara to the rim. No good. Grabbed by Mack. Good looks on both ends, just can't finish around the rim. Back to Mack at the top. Gives it off Slagus. Top of the key, Johnson tries it. No good. Offensive rebound, Slagus, and she puts it back. There's her ability on the offensive board.
For Bucknell, they had been outdone on the offensive glass on second chance points by the tune of 13-6 before that bucket.
The last time that these two teams met, Aaron Russell talked about how he remembered it's probably the largest rebounding margin in 5 years. Inside they go to Azema and it just goes off her hands, and it will go right back to Bucknell. Substitution, Lauren Manis will check in. And now, once again, Adam, this is a thing that's come more common, especially in the women's game with the way the quarters have played out, and you get that sort of substitution right at the end of the quarter. But play it out strategically, bringing in your defensive players at the end of a quarter if you know you're going to have a lot of defensive possessions. That's what Holy Cross has done. We'll get a foul on Azema with the hand check. Holy Cross did have a foul to give. So the next one will send Bucknell to the line. Got a 7-second difference between the shot and game clock. But Bucknell goes quickly, and Mack, offensive foul on Ellie Mack.
Well, this is interesting because normally you'd see a player crash to the court. So here is Manis defensively, but she gets right in the chest and stays on her feet because Megan Swords keeps her propped up. And then it's Mack who goes crashing to the court. So optics-wise, that didn't look like how an offensive foul normally goes down, but there was a lot of contact that Manis took right in the chest.
And Holy Cross electing to go with the offensive lineup here. Madeleine Smith and Dembski back in the game in favor of Swords and Morris. Holy Cross looking to hold as long as they can. Smith operating from the top. Off the screen. Azema to the rim, lost it. Kicks it out, Dembski, she'll try the three. In and out, no good. 6 seconds to go, here comes O'Brien. 3 on the clock, O'Brien is fouled before the shot. In the NBA, that might have counted, but not here for Taylor O'Brien.
It will result in 2 free throws, though. Holy Cross did not have a foul to give. That's their 5th in the quarter. So here's the foul on the floor. Now, remember all those Holy Cross fans that were giving an earful to the officials at the end of the first half for calling a foul in the act of shooting. You don't necessarily think about the ones that go your way, and that one might have been the exact same call, that a little bit of a break for Holy Cross.
And now Holy Cross bringing in 2 rebounders for this situation in Nixon and Swords. There is 2.3 to go, which is time for a Holy Cross launch. Free throw is up and good. Swords will inbound. Finds Dembski, got tipped out of bounds, now 1 second remaining. And ever since Bucknell's put on this full court press, it's really changed the dynamic for Holy Cross offensively.
It's really just changed the dynamic of this game entirely, how few points have been put up by both teams after a really quick beginning in the first.
Inbound to come from Dembski. She finds Morris. Morris gonna have time to heave it. She does, it's short. Holy Cross will head to the fourth quarter in front by 2. Holy Cross and Bucknell, fourth quarter coming up next. Welcome back here on Senior Day inside the Hart Center. Holy Cross honoring their seniors in team manager Kat Middlebrook along with Maggie Locke and Miranda Nixon. And Coach McInerney talked earlier this week about her seniors. She said they do so much more than what's in the stat sheet. Talked about Miranda Nixon, who wants to be a coach after she graduates. Talked about her and her ability to kind of lead this team here down the stretch. One of the veterans that's been here through the last couple of seasons as well. And then just talking about the rest of her seniors as well, and about how much they've contributed both on and off the court.
Right, and that's really where a lot of those contributions came for these players, just contributing off the court. And there's a lot to be said about raising your team and playing a team game, and what Miranda Nixon and Maggie Locke, what they can do.
Maggie Locke and Miranda Nixon both nominated and voted captain by the team, and Coach McInerney said that's just a testament to who they are to this group. They're trying to go inside and a kicked ball there. Big thing that McInerney stressed was Miranda Nixon just brings a great personality. Each and every day wants to be coached. That's a good thing to have from a coach if you want to be coached.
Always trying to get better, right?
Max jumper is good. 45 all.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a tied game in the fourth quarter.
McInerney talked about herself being coached when she was an assistant for Coach Madeleine Smith over at Harvard. Talked about her time there. That one goes out of bounds. It'll stay with Holy Cross. But on the floor, it's been an exciting one. Not the high scoring affair that we've had, but just the battle between these two teams. It's been a hard-fought game.
No, it certainly has. You just figured that it would be a carbon copy, but at the same time, Bucknell is really a talented team. They've consistently blown out their opponents this year, but it's that resiliency from Holy Cross where they're always going to stay in it.
Demski no good. Offensive rebound to Zema. Kicks it back out. Holy Cross second chance points. Haven't been at a premium, but they have gotten the chances. Top of the arc.
And if anything for Holy Cross, this is their 12th offensive rebound, and they only have 13 second chance points to show for it. So they haven't converted. They've done a good job of getting the second possessions.
An offensive foul goes on Alucia Azema. Megan Swords will sub in for Azema, who just picked up her 4th personal foul.
And with her brand of basketball, that's something where she does need to go to the bench to stay protected just because of how full throttle it is that she goes.
That was a much quieter game so far from Azema's. We have a moment where Slagus needs to be taped up.
Normally a mid-game tape is blood-related. You can see her other knee is really taped up. That's more of the support, long injury, long season type of deal. But usually if you get taped up mid-game, it's just a cut that's opened up.
Either way, Bucknell needs her out on the floor.
Yeah, they do, and they need her to be a focal point. She has just 7 points, half of her season average.
Well, here's one player that's had the points in Kai English, and she kicks it out to Walker, who's fouled by Manis on the 3. With 5 seconds on the shot clock, Walker will go to the line, and she'll shoot 3 free throws. Tough play there for Lauren
Yeah,
Manis.
you just can't quite do that, especially as a team leader. You know, that is a little better than fouling on the arm. Not much. A little more palatable, let's say, but still, you can't give Bucknell 3 great opportunities.
I think she may have mistimed where she thought Walker was going to land. It just kind of looked like Walker was able to run into the body of Manis, and now have a stoppage as I believe Manis has blood on the shoulder.
Yeah, so Manis is going to go off and take care of that. Now, you wonder where the blood came from. Maybe that was on Slagis's leg. See if we can.
She'll go.
All right.
No long sleeves.
No undershirt. Not on the jersey, it was just on the undershirt.
So that will make the process a little bit quicker. We'll get back to action as Walker missed her first free throw. So we'll see if this is a positive or a negative, kind of icing the kicker, in a sense you could say. Free throw is no good from Walker.
Obviously not by design.
No.
But no, you're exactly right. Just think about it. Stay out there. Stay cold. She misses all three.
0 for 3 from Kate Walker.
And think about Bucknell had 3 free throws at the end of the first half, and then these 3 free throws. So you get fouled twice in the game on 3-pointers, and you go 1 for 6.
It's been a tough stretch at times, and Walker shooting 71% from the line this season.
But Bucknell, they're a good free throw shooting team. They're top 35 in the country. They're tops in the conference. It just has not been that kind of day. They're right around 50% today.
All tied at 45. Inside pass to Manis, and she saves it off of Mack. That's just a heads-up play by a veteran in Lauren Manis.
Yeah, that is really impressive. Again, from our vantage point, it looked like that was certainly going to be out of bounds off of Holy Cross. It stays alive, and then she really keeps it alive for the Crusaders.
Kick out to Smith, 5 on the shot clock. Madeleine Smith, couple of crossovers, kicks to Dembski, a 3, banks it home! Madison Dembski with another big 3, and Holy Cross takes the lead.
She just keeps on trying, shoot and shoot and shoot. Made a couple in the first half, now she's 3 of 6.
Inside, and a quick response by Kate Walker. Not a 3, but that time able to find the basket. Holy Cross now up by just 1. Well, you want to slow down Holy Cross in transition. That full court press has done its job against the Crusaders here this afternoon. Tipped away from Smith, and now just 10 on the shot clock. Kick to LaBarbera, pump fakes to the rim, fouled, can't get it to go. She'll go to the free throw line. So LaBarbera will shoot. But Madison Dembski now 9 points on 3 huge 3-pointers for Holy Cross in this game. 2 in a quarter where they really went cold. She was able to give them that spark. Free throw from LaBarbera is good. And then so far the biggest 3 of the contest for Holy Cross.
They're trying to stay above water here against a really talented Bucknell team.
Second free throw is up and good. LaBarbera 2 for 2. Talk about good free throw shooting. You can't go in the Patriot League very far without seeing the name Avery LaBarbera on the list at 88.5%. Holy Cross as a team, though, has had their struggles at the line this year.
Yeah, they have a couple players who miss their fair share. Megan Swords, post player who goes to the line often, right around 50%.
Walker inside, kicks it out. O'Brien to the rim, left hand, no good. Rebound by Dembski. And here goes Holy Cross in transition. LaBarbera, 3 orange jerseys around, kick out to Manis. Manis, a spin inside, she's fouled, she'll go to the line.
That seemed like a play where the basketball wound up in the wrong player's hands, which is remarkable to say that Lauren Manis, Patriot League Player of the Year preseason this year, wasn't the player who should have gotten that basketball, because Dembski was wide open just before we cut to that replay, and they were almost standing next to each other, and yet at the end of the tape, it's Manis making a great spin move through the lane.
And you saw Avery LaBarbera running the other direction, thinking that Manis was going to put up that 3-pointer. First free throw no good by Lauren Manis.
Manis has knocked down a 3-pointer today.
Second free throw rattles out. Offensive board by Swords. Gets it back, kicks it out. LaBarbera going to hold it and set it up. That's a situation where a lot of freshmen might take that 3. That's a veteran move by LaBarbera to pull that back out and give yourself an offensive possession. Inside to Swords. Lays it up and in on the left. Big basket by Megan Swords. With 6 minutes to go, Holy Cross has a 2-possession lead. Walls trying to take it on LaBarbera. She's fouled. Almost got that to go.
Wow.
That thing hung up there forever. And the foul will go on Avery LaBarbera. That will be her second personal.
That's really nice bit of strength here by Walls. When you get fouled like this and you're trapped under the hoop, you just don't expect that you're going to get that ball up there, and that really should have gone down for her.
Walls knocks down the first free throw. Marley Walls, a freshman out of Kentucky. All-state selection. How about this? Was the athlete of the year in track and field in Class 2A. Might beat you in a race.
I would put real good amount of money on that, Elijah.
26 games this year, 3.5 points per game. Second one, no good. And the grab there by Manis. It's been a game in which production has come from a multitude of players for Bucknell. For Holy Cross, the usual suspects, LaBarbera and Manis in double figures, with Dembski trailing at 9. LaBarbera looking for Azema. Great backdoor cut. Azema can't get it to fall. And that's going to go out of bounds. Couldn't be saved there by Brugler. Almost ran into her teammate Johnson. So Holy Cross gets a fortunate bounce that time.
Holy Cross right now about plus 10 in rebounding overall, but they've led offensive rebounds 15-6. They're plus 9 on the offensive glass.
And again, this is nothing new for Coach Russell when he sees this Holy Cross team. The largest rebounding margin in 5 years, the last time these two teams met. That one no good as LaBarbera had it knocked away on the shot. And now a jump ball. Possession arrow will stay with the Crusaders. But that was the first thing that popped into his mind, too. It wasn't the win, which, by the way, was also his 300th career win as a coach. It was the rebounding margin. Pass inside to Nicole Morris is taken away. Walker the other way. Lays it up and in. 2-point game.
I don't know if you're ever going to find a coach.
Stolen away by Walls. She's fouled, can't get it to go, and she will go to the line.
Well, we'll skip that thought and we'll go right to Walls, where you talk about that track-type speed, and it shows up on the defensive end of the court, stepping in and stripping away a handoff pass.
Almost got that one to fall for a three-point play. Instead, she's at the line. Knocks down the first. Dembski comes back in for Nicole Morris. And this is what Coach Russell talked about. The physicality, taking pride in that defensive possession. And they've done a couple of times, had a couple of possessions recently where they've really stepped up defensively and made it tough on Holy Cross. No bucket has come easy here this afternoon.
That's why this game's floating in the 50s right now, not in the 70s like the first time.
Second one is good, and you see Walls there make the free throw, immediately find the player she's guarding. Smith with the basketball. Had it knocked away. Walls once again. And why not put the track and field athlete of the year in Kentucky on Avery LaBarbera? It's a break on the floor, and it's a tight one here in the fourth quarter. Holy Cross and Bucknell knotted at 52. Welcome back inside the Hart Center. We talked about what Holy Cross has coming up. Have a game on Nesson right here inside the Hart Center, but that is not an easy stretch if you're the Holy Cross Crusaders. 2 out of those 3 teams ahead of you in the standings.
And one of them is tied with you in the fourth quarter with 4.5 minutes to go. So, yeah, this is not going to be easy pickings for Holy Cross to establish themselves atop the Patriot League standings. However, if they do, if they're able to pull out a couple of wins and find themselves at 3rd or 4th place in the standings, they're going to be feeling really good about themselves when the postseason rolls around.
And Holy Cross, we talk about what they've done through the years, or excuse me, through the season against a couple of these top-tier teams in the league. And the 2 marquee wins that they might look back and say these were huge. Those 2 wins against BU, both Turnpike Trophy games, both coming away victorious.
And that's something where today could be big for Holy Cross from a standing perspective, but a mental perspective, because fighting Bucknell really tough in 2 games but not coming away with a win doesn't necessarily do much to your psyche and your ability to pull out a close, hard-fought Patriot League tournament game. At a certain point, you need to see a win come away from it.
There's a steal by Walls. The other way, knocked away by LaBarbera. Ball loose on the deck. Walker, she's going to go up and score. Bucknell back in front.
How much more speed do you need here in the fourth from Walls?
She has been electric off the bench for Bucknell on the defensive end. Avery LaBarbera has had a tough time against Marley Walls. Manis to the rim. Manis goes up and she's fouled. Surprised they weren't going to call that. It's going to go on Mack. Ellie Mack picks up
right now
third personal.
On the court for Bucknell. Kate Walker has 4 fouls, third for Mack. On Holy Cross's side of things, nobody with more than 3 fouls on the court.
Free throw by Manis, no good. So she'll have a chance to maybe cut it to 1. Second free throw, no good. Offensive rebound by Swords. Will have a jump ball, and it will go the way of Bucknell. So 2 missed free throws by Holy Cross, and Bucknell gets the basketball back in front by 2.
Both teams kicking themselves in that department today. 9 of 18 for Bucknell, so 50%. Holy Cross now 10 of 17, right around 60% at the free throw line. Leaving points out there in a close game between 2 fiery competitive teams.
For Coach McInerney, she said this has been a team that through this stretch of wins, the 4 in a row, said they learned how to win and get confidence late in games. 3 by Mack is no good. She said we have the confidence now that we can win these close games. As LaBarbera pulls it back out, finds Morris. Morris thought about the 3, now puts it on the deck. Kick out to LaBarbera. This could be a big possession for Avery LaBarbera, but now Walls switches on her. LaBarbera trying to create. Pulls back, 3-pointer, drills it! Avery LaBarbera from beyond the arc. Holy Cross in front.
And McInerney talking about the confidence of a team to hang in and beat these teams. How about the confidence from her freshman there?
Top of the arc, it's with Mack. Walls spinning, steps through, no good. Rebound by Dembski, it's out of bounds, it's off the leg of Walls. And that Bucknell bench cannot believe that they called it off the leg of Walls.
Walls didn't seem to have a problem with the call.
No. The players on the floor didn't seem to have a problem with it.
Right.
But Holy Cross in front by 1. And Avery LaBarbera leading the way for Holy Cross with 16. She's got the biggest bucket so far. Still about 3 minutes to go. Dembski swings it to LaBarbera. Dangerous pass with Walls all over. LaBarbera now puts it on the floor. Penetrates. Kicks, but she stepped out of bounds. Had Manis open for the look. It was the right design play, but LaBarbera just took it maybe a little bit too deep.
Yep, and that is something where you're trying to be aggressive and you hope there was an opening, and instead you realize, oh no, I've run out of room, and you realize it just a little too late.
So LaBarbera will take a seat. And back in is Nicole Morris for Holy Cross. Top of the arc with Cap. Again, players that have been quiet so far for Bucknell have had big games in the past. That one no good by Cap. She's one of them. 12 points in that first half.
I'd say that Caitlin Slagus is certainly on the list as well. Only 7 points still for someone who wants to consider herself on the short list for Patriot League Player of the Year.
One player in double figures for Bucknell. Foul going to be called on a great cut by Manis.
Yeah, great cut, great find. Madeleine Smith led her to a spot, threw it into open space, and trusted that Manis was going to continue her run to the hoop.
So Nicole Morris will come out. LaBarbera will check back in for Holy Cross. And O'Brien comes in. She replaces Cap. Inbound to come from Dembski. Dembski finds Smith. Holy Cross looking to extend their lead. Manis Kicks out Dembski. Out of bounds, and it will go to Bucknell.
Good defense there in the corner for Bucknell. Dembski put it on the court, really didn't seem to have a purpose.
Coach McInerney was the most animated we've seen her all afternoon. She was jumping up and down. Thought that there was a foul there. Inside, they go to Mack. She goes up, can't get it to go. Rebound by Dembski. Now the other way come the Crusaders.
Seems like the players are letting the coaches do all the screaming and shouting for them, and the players are just trying to take care of business on the court.
And a timeout by Holy Cross, and we have a timeout on the floor. The Crusaders in front by 1. Well, the Bucknell Bison come into this game against Holy Cross, and they have their hands full as we take a look at what they have upcoming. You look at Navy, a team that always is a force to be reckoned with the way they play defense. That big game at American, and then an Army West Point team that just beat this very tough Holy Cross team.
Right, and for Bucknell, you don't want to say that they took anything for granted here today. They did. Holy Cross has put up a great fight for a second time this season. But for Bucknell, you can imagine when you come into today and you're tied at 13-1 with American in the standings, and you've got that game looming a couple of games down the road, that in their mind they're hoping they're on a collision course to decide the Patriot League regular season title in that one. But Holy Cross looking to shuffle some things up and throw a wrench into those plans and maybe change the importance of what that game really means.
Madeleine Smith with the basketball. Holy Cross in front by 1. Took the timeout, draw up something out of the break. Hand off by Swords. Now 10 on the shot clock for Smith. Smith penetrates left side, and she's fouled, goes to the line. And a free throw game coming here as we come down the stretch.
Couple of free throws coming up for Madeleine Smith, her first 2 free throws of the day.
Smith just 3 points today. First free throw is up and good from Smith. And it came on just 1 3-pointer. That was her first free throw attempt, like you mentioned, but it's her 3rd attempt from the field to shoot the basketball. And checking in will be Johnson. Now a 3-point game with 1:18 to go. With the way Bucknell shoots the 3, you'd expect they've got something drawn up for one of their stars. English gives it to Slagus. Now it's Walker. Walker to the rim, Euro step, and scores. Impressive move by Kate Walker. Inbound by Manis. She'll get it right back. No pressure on her. No need to foul here if you're Bucknell.
No, you're going to see 30 seconds of defense.
Smith awaits the screen. To the top of the arc, Manis. Manis to the rim. Manis can't get it to go, but she'll go to the foul line. And Holy Cross with 44.7 now has a chance to extend it back to 3. We'll see what Manis can do from the foul line. She missed 2 before. So a redemption chance, you could say.
Yeah.
First one, no good.
Wow. Well, Manis is someone that you want the ball in the hands of with the game on the line if you're Holy Cross.
Second free throw. This one is good. And a timeout is going to be taken here by Bucknell with 44.7 to go. We'll stay right here, but now if you're Bucknell, that opens up the floor substantially.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, you think you go for the 2. At the same time, I mean, Bucknell, they're a team that has a lot of faith in their shooters. If depending on who you want to have out there, they can really spread the floor on you. So if you're Holy Cross, you can't assume that Bucknell is going to do one thing or the other. You need to just play good, solid defense. And I think one thing you can be sure of is that Bucknell is probably going to try and go to the basket or shoot their shot with maybe somewhere in the 20-25 second range, just to allow themselves, if they come up empty on this possession, a chance to trade some fouls.
Well, Nicole Morris is checked into the game. LaBarbara is out. So offense for defense as Holy Cross Tries to defend here. They go inside to Slagus, and she's fouled by Megan Swords, and this is going to send Slagus to the foul line.
2 free throws to tie it with 41.3 to go.
We are a long way from done in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Lucia Zema going to check in. A couple of players for Bucknell head over to the scores table. First free throw by Slagus is good. It's Rachel Dumiak, the senior, that will come in. She checks in for Johnson. Nicole Morris checks out, and Azema comes in. So no LaBarbara just yet. Slagus is second. That one's good. We're all tied at 58, and a timeout taken by Holy Cross. This will advance the basketball. And now, Adam, for Coach McInerney, it's a question of who do you put the ball with in this situation.
And, you've had a lot of really good options, and maybe it's LaBarbara. Maybe it is your freshman. You've got Lauren Manis, who has been fine today at 12 points, 9 rebounds. It's been an average day for her, maybe a little below average, and I think you've got to like what Avery LaBarbara has done, particularly in this second half, and her ability to drive has been key as well, to be active, and even if she's driving and she gets shut off, she can then kick it out, disperse it, so that Holy Cross comes out feeling pretty good on senior day.
Seniors honored prior to the game, Maggie Locke, along with Kat Littlebrook and Miranda Nixon. Inbound comes to LaBarbara. About a 10-second difference between the shot and game clock, so Bucknell can let this play out and then still have a lot of time left to create for themselves. LaBarbara waits on the clock, comes off the screen, looking for Manis, can't find her, hands it off to Smith. 8 on the shot clock, kicks it out. Debski for 3, no good. Rebound, loose ball, it goes out of bounds, and it will go to Bucknell, but not before we have a review.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to have a review, and that this is going to have a really good chance of getting overturned. With 3 on the shot clock, Holy Cross, that would be the situation that with 3 seconds to go, Holy Cross might have a chance to get this ball back.
So the call on the floor is to Bucknell. So now we'll see if we can take a look here. So the referees will look and see here, see what they can find. But big thing to note, Adam, is let's say this ball does stay with Holy Cross. 3 seconds are on the shot clock. That shot by Dembski did not hit the rim.
Correct.
So
Correct.
the shot clock will not reset.
Very accurately called.
So they want to take a look here at our monitor.
So with 13.4 seconds left, tied at 58. With 16 points on the board for Avery LaBarbara. That is who we thought the ball was going to be in the hands of. Madison Dembski with 6 points, rather 9 points as well for Madison Dembski. She was the one that took that shot. She had the air ball on the backside of the rim. And they're going to go back to the original replay. It certainly seemed like a chance that Holy Cross is going to get this ball back. But they would need to see something conclusive in order to overturn it.
So Holy Cross, see if they get the ball back or they stay with the same call. And they're going to go with Bucknell with the basketball.
And there's going to be 14.1 seconds. Some time is going to be added to the clock.
We'll see how much it is.
14 flat on the clock for Bucknell.
So Holy Cross will have to defend here. And a timeout going to be taken by Bucknell to advance this basketball. And now you have the flip question for Russell. Who do you put the ball in the hands of?
Your leading scorer, Kai English. You've got Kate Walker. You know, I mean, English has been quiet for so long. You wonder, all right, well, who has been the hot hand here in the second half? And I don't necessarily know what the answer is there. It's just been such a low-scoring game. It's been a grinded-out kind of feel that for both of these teams, you know, you've got Ellie Mack, who's got 4 points here in the second half, but not exactly someone you draw a play up for. This is one of the areas where Bucknell can struggle. They're so comfortable at blowing teams out and having large leads that, short of Kai English, do you have somebody that you really love putting the ball in the hands of and letting her create?
So now Holy Cross going to have to make a stop defensively. And right now, if you're Holy Cross, you have to be feeling very good with where this game is, the low-scoring affair, the tough times it's been to get to score on offense. Hasn't been a high, potent offensive game. So you look at this if you're Holy Cross and say, hey, we might have the advantage defensively coming into this play. But if you're Bucknell, the streak on the line, looking for 13 in a row, and it'll come down to this. Walker will inbound it. English on the floor with Mack, along with Slagus and O'Brien. It's Nicole Morris, Smith, Manis, Azema, and Swords on the floor for Holy Cross. 10 on the game clock. English hands off O'Brien. O'Brien off the screen. O'Brien to the rim, shoots it and scores off the glass. Taylor O'Brien has the big bucket, and Bucknell in front by 2.
She just kept on dribbling and kept it alive. Someone missed a switch defensively. There was far too much open space when O'Brien turned the corner. Megan Swords was there eventually to try and alter the shot, but not nearly enough in order for Holy Cross defensively there. That was as easy of a look when it was all said and done for Bucknell as they could have hoped for.
So Holy Cross will have a full timeout here to discuss what they want to do. And now you're in a situation, Adam, where, yes, you want to go for the 2 to tie, but the 3 to win is also not out of the question as well.
Especially with only 3 seconds to go, where you're not going to have too many options to draw things up. You're going to get the basketball in and then have just a couple of dribbles when it's all said and done. And it's just a matter of where they'll get the basketball as well. And they should be inbounding from in front of their own bench.
And that is exactly where the ball's at. Okay. So you would assume that's where it's going to be.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's ready to go with an inbound. So the ball does advance from under the far basket to our left. It is going to be right in front of the bench for Holy Cross. See if some heroics are in store at the Hart Center.
LaBarbera back out on the floor for Holy Cross. Only substitution that came in for the Crusaders. Dembski will inbound. 2-point lead for Bucknell. Backdoor pass to Manis, knocked away. It is going to stay with Holy Cross with 0.6 remaining. And I'm not sure, they might take a look at this and bring that time back up. And they're going to put 0.7 on the clock. So now Holy Cross with 0.7 left. Dembski will inbound. Finds Smith. Smith has to heave at the horn. She got it! Madeleine Smith wins it for Holy Cross. They will look at the monitor, but Madeleine Smith may have just won this game for the Crusaders.
0.7 of a second. That's more than enough time for Holy Cross to get something in, and wasn't a dribble, not enough time for one. A quick turn and fire, and it is going to be close.
It was very close if she got it off or not. And we'll see. It's good. Holy Cross wins. A 1-point victory on Senior Day, and Madeleine Smith, the hero for the Crusaders.
Hard to have much more fun than that for Holy Cross on your Senior Day, sending your seniors off in style, and preventing Bucknell from extending what would have been a program best win streak. Instead, you hand them their 5th loss of the season and only their 2nd loss in conference.
So Holy Cross and Madeleine Smith have come away victorious here inside the Hart Center. And for Bucknell, once again, hearts are broken at 12. The 13 consecutive game win streak is over, and Holy Cross has moved above 500 in conference, and it's thanks in part to number 12, Madeleine Smith for Holy Cross. Well, that'll do it for our broadcast. For my broadcast partner, Adam Giardino, I'm Elijah Gonzalez saying so long from inside the Hart Center as Holy Cross gets it done here at home against Bucknell by a final score of 61-60. For more live Patriot League broadcast features and information, go to watchstadium.com. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Patriot League Network on Stadium. Have a good afternoon, everybody.